It is Wednesday, May 27. Welcome to CGN News. Jamaica's most powerful private sector lobby has added pressure along with tourism advocates for a clear roadmap towards a date for a safe and sustainable reopening. Keith Duncan, president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, demanded certainty in the wake of a downturn in tourism that has sparked collapsing fortunes in linkage industries such as agriculture, distribution, manufacturing, and the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector. Citing a significant contraction in business, Duncan pressed for Jamaica's tourism industry to get up and running in the shortest possible time. Jamaica's tourism and hospitality sector is estimated to have hemorrhaged 300,000 direct and indirect jobs since the outbreak of COVID-19 here in March, and the island's economy is forecast to contract by more than 5%, although some analysts put the loss at as much as 10%. The PSOJ acknowledged that many countries across the globe, including Jamaica, were all grappling with the challenge of when and how to open their borders. Bermuda's Premier David Byrd has warned that his government will be adopting a zero-tolerance approach to breaches of rules designed to limit the spread of coronavirus, which has claimed 9 lives in Bermuda. Byrd reported that businesses would be ordered to close if regulations were not followed during Phase 2 of the island's reopening, which started last Thursday. The Premier said that he's troubled to see people not wearing masks while not engaging in physical distancing, and businesses that are not adhering to the necessary protocols. He said other countries had experienced increased numbers of COVID-19 cases after people failed to act in a responsible way, and vowed Bermuda will not be one of those countries. Trinidad and Tobago may not have enough land facilities to quarantine hundreds of nationals returning from cruise ships at the same time. The National Security Ministry announced that government will permit the entry of nationals on the various cruise ships by establishing a schedule. Speaking at a virtual media briefing on Monday, Health Minister Terence Dale-Singh said it is difficult to bring in 500 people to land at the same time. According to media reports, National Security Minister Stuart Young said that over 300 nationals stuck on a ship off Barbados will be allowed to come home if the cruise ship company agrees to quarantine them at sea off Trinidad and Tobago. Minister Dale-Singh confirmed that government is looking at the option of quarantining the returning nationals aboard cruise ships. These cruise ships now have been totally decanted of passengers for maybe months on end. The health minister explained that while there are close to 1,000 beds available across the system, not all beds are available to quarantine returning nationals. The Bahamas government Tuesday described reports that it is running out of money and that the local currency is under threat of being devalued as false. Finance Minister Peter Turnquest said in a statement that the Bahamas has historically taken a very prudent approach to fiscal and monetary policy to protect themselves in situations like the emergency of the global pandemic. The finance minister said that since the COVID-19 pandemic, the central bank has taken several preemptive steps to shore up reserves, and they will continue to take necessary action as needed. Resident access to exchange for international capital market investments through Bahamas depository receipts and the investment currency market have been suspended. International news now. Thousands of people have taken to the streets in Ecuador to protest against the government's economic response to the coronavirus outbreak. Around 2,000 people demonstrated in the capital Quito, defying restrictions aimed at combating the virus. Last week, the president announced measures including the closure of some state-owned companies and cuts to public sector salaries. Ecuador has been one of the worst affected countries in South America. Around 37,000 cases have been confirmed and more than 2,000 people have died with the virus, according to Johns Hopkins University. According to President Lenin Moreno, 150,000 jobs has been lost as a result of coronavirus. The first of 5 Iranian oil tankers has entered Venezuela's waters carrying more than 1 million barrels of fuel. The Iranian tankers are being escorted by the Venezuelan Navy and Air Force. The U.S., which has imposed sanctions on both countries, says it is monitoring the convoy. Both Venezuela and Iran have warned Washington not to interfere with the delivery. Venezuela is suffering a shortage of refined fuel despite having the world's largest oil reserves. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro thanked Iran for its support, describing the two countries as two revolutionary peoples who will never kneel down before North American imperialism. The United States has imposed sanctions prohibiting trade with both Iran and Venezuela. Researchers in Kenya are calling for 400 volunteers to take part in a trial of a potential coronavirus vaccine pioneered by the University of Oxford. The Kemri Wellcome Trust says all participants must be health workers living in the coastal city of Mombasa and nearby town of Kilifi, where the trial will take place. The same potential vaccine is already being tested in more than 1,000 volunteers in the UK. Hoping to drum up enough support in Kenya, the Kemri Wellcome Trust has enlisted the Kenya Medical Research Institute to help with the research for participants. There has been controversy around the testing of vaccines in Africa, but the researchers stress that regulatory approval will be sought before any trial begins. They also said that Kenyan participation is crucial if the vaccine is to be suitable for use on the continent. 50 trafficked Nigerian women have been rescued from Lebanon and returned home, Nigeria's foreign minister says. They have all been placed in quarantine following their arrival on Sunday as a precaution against coronavirus. The country's anti-trafficking agency will interview them about their experiences after their isolation ends. Last month, a Nigerian woman working as a maid in Lebanon was rescued after being put up for sale on Facebook for $1,000. That's it for CGN News. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Scott Wilson.